Welcome to Thriving Against the Odds. I'm Cheryl Johnson, your host, and today I will be sitting down and speaking with a remarkable breast cancer survivor. Her name is Tosha Carter. I'd like to welcome Tosha to the podcast today. Tosha, welcome to Thriving Against the Odds. I'm so excited that you took an opportunity to sit down and just talk with me about your journey.
Thank you, Ms. Cheryl.
Yeah, it's been, I know our history, we go way back. We've got mutual friends as well. And we used to work for public health. My first love, public health has always been my first love. So it has afforded me so many things and afforded me the opportunity to be here now.
Yes, ma'am, me too.
Yeah, great. So Tosha, tell us how old you were when you first heard the word C.
I was actually 46, working my 47th birthday, which was that July. But when I found out about it, it was actually April the 30th of 2024.
April 30th of 2024. Now, I started just going right into your journey, but let's back up a little bit and just tell us about who you are, where you're from, do you have any children, just anything you'd like to share with us.
Okay, Ms. Cheryl, I am Tosha Carter. I am from Talbotton, Georgia. I'm actually a resident of Talbotton.
Okay.
I've been in Talbot County actually all of my life. I was born on the north part of Talbot County, which was Shiloh, Georgia.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. Actually, my grandfather pastored a church and built a church right there in Shiloh. So,
okay. And I just went to high school there, graduated from there, went to college, started off at Columbus Tech, and I finished up with Trident University, where I actually bought my my degree in business administration, and I worked for Department of Public Health, which is for part of the West Central Georgia District 7.
Right.
I actually worked over 21 and a half years. Wow. And I just retired as of January 1st of 2025.
Okay. Oh, so you have a new title. You're a retiree.
I'm a retiree. Yes, ma'am.
So you get those benefits. I
Yes,
love
ma'am.
it. Love
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
But that's great. That's
Yes,
great.
yes.
I guess I don't know if you were ready to retire, but, as we say, God has another plan for us.
Correct. I wasn't quite ready to retire. I had actually 8 more years,
Okay.
which I wouldn't been retirement age.
Right.
But
I would have had
the years, the 30 years. But
Right.
God had, like you say, God had something else in store for me. Throughout those years of my life, I did, later on, I have children. I have 2 boys. I have a 24-year-old and an 18-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Javoris and Cameron Jones. And actually, during my time of storm, I say, going through the cancer, I was actually notified that I had a grandbaby on the way.
Wow.
So,
okay.
in the midst of everything, like I said, God has a plan.
There was joy.
So, February of this year, February 11th, I never forget, and I was able to go to see my first grandson born. Wow. Jair.
Wow. Now, does he live here?
No, he stays in Atlanta.
Okay. So
His
you had
father
to
and mom.
had to commute
Yes,
to
and I had to
Atlanta.
ask permissions from my doctors.
Sure.
Also, at that time, I was home health care was in my home.
Gotcha.
I was learning how to walk again after all of this, and before I tell my story, but it's like I said, it was a ram in the bush, but God made it able to be able to see that experience and have that experience.
Yeah, I tell you, people don't know there's nothing like a grandchild. You love your children. You love your child. I only have one. But those grandbabies,
they
my
steal your
Lord.
heart.
Yes, they steal the other part. Well,
Yes.
that's awesome. So you are a I'll say a Talbotonian or a Talboton from Talboton, Georgia.
Yes.
And you graduated. So you're local. You're local. And
Yes,
so with your journey, when you were, I'm assuming, in the full midst of working, you were working.
Yes.
So when you heard, or tell us what took you up to the point of your, did you get your mammogram done and they found it, or what was, or did you do your, like, because we ask we ask people, women, to make sure that they do their self breast exam. So did you do your self breast exam and then you found a lump and had to go for a mammogram, or was it just a routine mammogram?
Actually, this was a routine.
Okay.
I have been doing my mammograms ever since I was 40,
Yes.
when you first started.
Right.
Now things has changed because of the cancer, where people may have been like diagnosed or a family member, so they usually try to get those early ones in to protect them, or either to prevent them, or find it at early. So with mine's basically was a routine.
Okay.
Went in the early part of April.
And
for
what year was this?
2024.
2024. Okay.
And did my routine checkup, annual PAP, all of that good stuff. And then I went to CDC, Columbus Diagnostic. That's where I always have gotten my mammograms from. And Dr. Contron, he is the actual doctor there that actually reads them, but he also reads the ones at St. Francis
as well. Yeah,
learned
he's my
a lot
guy.
about
Yeah,
him.
he's awesome.
He is also
He's
a
awesome.
blessing through my journey as well. So when I got the call to come back in to get a second mammogram done and an ultrasound done, because they had found something. They found the mass, but they wasn't sure. So with that being said, doing self-examinations, I would do that as well, but I never did feel anything, so I didn't know. So for them to detect it on the mammogram was a plus for me, because apparently it was smaller that I could not feel it. So I think I would have freaked out if I did. So when I got the call, and I was at work at the time when I got the call to that they had found something and it was actually cancer. They wanted me to come in to get a biopsy to be sure and to check the other lymph nodes. So I had to go back in May to Dr. and I can't remember his name at St. Francis, but
Was it Dr. Scarborough?
James.
Okay. It's okay.
Yes, I can't remember his last name, but yeah, it'll come to me. That's one of the brain fog you get from chemo.
That's what I was going to say. My good friends that have gone through chemo says chemo brain. and
Chemo
that's
brain.
okay.
I
You
have the
just keep
chemo
them
brain.
on.
So, but I know, he
Right.
was the one that actually brought me in, and Dr. Catron was the one that brought me in and did my biopsy over at St. Francis. I can remember him tremendously, because he actually brought me into this dark room, and he had every one of my mammograms, x-rays, and everything up in that room. And the reason why he did that, that's why I know I was special, because he took the time out to let me know that he was the one that read every one of mine, and that was the only one that was a sore thumb that stuck out. And he was like, I have to do this. Do something. And he said, I want to put you through the best doctors. And I said, you know what? I had already prayed about it. I was like, hey, you do what's best, and I will follow. And that's what I did. And we went, and I was able to see the surgeon upstairs at St. Francis. And he told me, first thing he asked me, he said, do you know why you're here? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, yes, you has cancer, but here are the options. And he gave me the options, either to do a lumpectomy or a mastectomy. And I was young, of course, and I was like, okay, can you explain to me the terms and everything? So came out, I was stage 1 for number 1. And I had the HERS2 triple negative cancer, but it was aggressive. So when you're looking at your diagnosis and you're looking at the lab forms, I'm like, what is this? I'm
What
trying to
does
figure
this
out,
mean?
okay, he said stage 1, I see a 1, I see a A, I don't know what that means. So back in the day, we just know it was benign or either you have it. So with that, it's more technical. They have a lot of research
Yes.
on these different types of cancers. And so with me knowing this, that mine was aggressive, he explained to me that even though it was found in my left breast, they would actually take out the lymph nodes and get those tested as well to make sure it has not spread it. And then the next thing I had to go and get the genetic testing done.
Yes.
So with that being said, I was the first on my mom's side, in my immediate family, to be diagnosed with breast cancer. I have had cousins of that sort, but they look at immediate.
Right.
So when they looked at it immediate, I was the first one. So, which they were saying, it can be taken care of, but there's always a but. So with mine, otherwise someone that was not aggressive may not have to have the chemo and radiation. They may have to just do the medication that they offer to prevent it from recurring back, or they just take it out all at once.
Gotcha.
So with me, since mine was aggressive, it can come back elsewhere. I had to go through the regimens. So I was able to do the surgery in June of last year. And once I did the surgery, I was out of work, of course, on the FMLA. Did not know how everything was going to go. So I went back. Everything went well with the surgeries. The lymph nodes was negative. So that was good. It did not spread. So
Absolutely.
praise God for that. But I had to go through John B. Amos to start my treatments for chemo. Well, with that being said, I have an underlying condition of rheumatoid arthritis and symptomatic lupus. With that being said, and Sjogren's. So with that being said, I have to stop all of my medicines that I've been taking for years to help me, stay out flare-ups of that sort, breakouts of that sort. I had to really just drop them. Nothing but Tylenol for pain, And so with chemo, I was had to do the 4 rounds every 21 days, but it was 2 types that I had to take. They were strong. So by the second, my hair came out at the first about a week and a half after I took the first dose, but by the second dose, my hair was totally out. I was
Did you
bald.
have a party? I hear the ladies say they have parties.
Have
and
not.
they, in regards to a shave party, or their child will shave with them, or any
No,
of that.
I had
which
a party by myself, me and God. And I had already was natural.
Yeah.
And I had a low haircut, but I really took upon myself to go ahead and just shave the rest of it. After I realized that the texture of my hair had changed, and when if I brush it or comb it, some was starting to fall, I went on and just shaved it off. And that was the best thing for me. I did cry during the whole duration time. I just was in the bathroom by myself, and I just boo-hooed because I had my moment.
It's okay.
It was
your pity
okay,
party,
but then
you
when
got
I got
back
up, I
up.
got back up. I was like, "Whoa, that's still beautiful."
Right.
So, okay.
Absolutely.
And so after that, that was a phase, and then that's when my underlying health condition started to actually start declining. I started out getting sores and scars, and then my skin started to deteriorate. Where your flesh is actually leaving your body. So I talked to the doctor, called the doctors. We had to get a dermatologist in, and the dermatologist, they couldn't do anything either as of helping for giving you steroids. And I'm already on steroids from the chemo. They prepare you to take the steroids during medications that should help us go through.
Perfect.
So with that being said, chemo, it does a lot of damages that people does not know. It does a lot of nerves damages. It does a lot of organ damages. It does the good, takes the good and the bad. It does both. At that time, the flare up again, it started to cover my whole entire body, 90%. third round, I was covered. I was ashamed. I just wanted to go to doctor visits. I would actually layer myself with clothing to keep myself for leaving skin cells everywhere. That's how it was. It was very painful. You would thought somebody that had shingles, but it was worse.
Wow.
And so at that time, skin was very fragile. Couldn't stretch or anything. They could barely get my blood. They had to pretty much get my blood out of my hands. That was the only part of my body that's pretty much kept some skin there where they could able to get blood from me when it was time for labs. After that, I did my last one. I got completed with the chemo October the 7th, 2024.
Wow,
Praise
my
God.
mom's
But
birthday.
I did not ring the bell because I wanted to do it at the end of radiation.
At the end of radiation, gotcha.
So they give you 2 weeks to subside the chemo out of your system before you go see. And I was able to see Dr. Cuba, but I still had those issues, skin issues. And when he saw me and knowing that I have to go through radiation, nothing was going to be injected, but I was going to be burned.
Still going.
He was like, your skin is not ready.
Right.
He said, we got to actually send you back to your dermatologist and your RA doctors to see can they come up with something. But we all was going to have to stay in the loop with the oncologist at the time. So I went and I was agreeable with that because I did not want to be, tortured on top of what I'm going through. But let's try to get this subsided first.
Take care of
And so November the 11th, I went to my dermatologist. I actually stayed in that office for about 2 hours.
Wow.
And it was horrible. That was nothing that they could do but put me on more steroids and creams. That was it. And I was like, I cannot keep, going, and I'm in all this pain. At this time, neuropathy had set in, and you can't fall. It was in my feet. It was in my hands, my arms. Just could barely move. It was just that bad. It was to the point where they had to actually lay me down just to get some relief. And so that day I left after she told me to come back in a week time to see if the steroids help. I went to the car. I got on the phone and I called my nurse navigator, Mary Williams, over to John B. Amos.
Yes.
She is so kind. She helped me through a lot.
Amazing.
I called her and she said, we've been on the phone. I said, I understand I've been on the phone with the doctors and, trying to get me situated. She said, Tasha, how you feel? I said, right now, I feel like going to the hospital. She said, let me pray with you on your way. She said, but I want you to go to Piedmont North Side. And I went to Piedmont North Side, and when I went over there, they took me in immediately. Soon I walked in, and they had the gown ready.
Wow.
We are going to admit you. So the doctors from Piedmont and also John B. Amos and my dermatologist, they had been on the phones, and so they already knew. So it was just a matter of time. So when I got there, they took lab, of course, and did triage and got me in a room, and I called the family. The family came, and I was there for about 3 weeks for them to try to figure out what was going on. But when they found out it was my RA and lupus, my skin had really gotten deteriorated enough where I looked like a burned patient. So the doctors was kind of unconcerned at the time because they was like, okay, we got to get with our colleagues in Atlanta and Emory so we can see we can get you to the best doctors. So I was like, please do. So at that time, being on all the steroids caused another problem. So I couldn't breathe. I had got up to over 250 pounds. With inflammation levels was high. My numbers was skyrocket. My organ numbers, blood work, just everything was just abnormal. So they was like, we got to get you out to someone. Your symptoms and everything is complex to where we cannot keep diagnosing you for certain things, and you went through the cancer and certain things you cannot have because of that, and you just got done with chemo treatment. We can't even start you on.
Very,
it was
complex,
very complex, very complex
situation.
So with my story, being like that, no one knows what someone have, or if you end up with underlying condition, other illness that is compounded with what you're going through when you're going through this cancer. So with that being said, I was like, okay. So they tried Augusta, they didn't have no beds. They tried Atlanta Burn Center, they didn't have any beds. Piedmont didn't have any beds. Emory didn't have any beds.
Wow.
They had called Jacksonville, so they ended up calling Florida. They was the only one, but my family having to travel, so they asked me, I said, it doesn't matter with me.
You just
get me to a place. My family will get to me, just get me to a better place where I can get this subsided. So they felt like that they needed to do more of testings. So they hold me off again for another week. So by that way, they was like, okay, we think we can do something, and by that way we can go ahead and get you to therapy. So all of the therapists around was pretty much booked, but they end up getting me at Encompass out here on Veterans, which they are awesome. They are intensive therapists out there. And so I was doing good. They got me back up to walking again. I still had a lot of heaviness. I had started having breathing problems. And then my heart, they was trying to figure out about my heart. So with that being said, when you go to the therapist, that's what I'm there for. And they only focus on the medications that I was on while I was at the hospital and what I was taking. So that's what they was basically giving me. So I never forget on December the 4th, and if you heard my story, like I tell people, that was supposed to be my dead date. I woke up that morning, and that was supposed to be my discharge date from the facility. So they was preparing me to go home like this and bring home care to the house. But when I woke up that morning and my nurse came in, she checked, she said, your numbers are not looking good. So my blood pressure was dropping. My heart rate was like maybe 130, 140, 150. It was very high. But I wasn't able to move anything. Everything I touched, I was in pain. I couldn't even pick up my phone, couldn't even dial it. I had a lot of stiffness. It just wasn't right. And so she was like, there's no way possible you can do therapy. Let me call therapists, send me here. So they came in, they checked on me, and they said, well, we're going to we'll see if you'll do well, this afternoon, because I had two sections. So they said, we'll let you rest, let them get you back stable, and then we'll see we can be able to take you the afternoon. So I was like, okay. But then I noticed that my voice was starting to leave away from me as well. I was on oxygen, and she kept me on that. And I called my sister. I had her to call my sister, and she called my sister, and I told my sister. She said, well, I'm picking up your wheelchair, your stuff, equipment for home. I said, well, I don't think I'm going to be leaving today. She said, what's wrong? I said, if you can come by here, I need you to come by. So she came by before she went to work, and she was like, you're not looking right. And she said, so then, by the way, the nurse came in and pulled her out. So I knew something was wrong because they was monitoring me up front. So they was letting her know what was going on. And so when she come back in, she said, well, I got something I need to do. And at work, and she worked in LaGrange, and she said, if I can get somebody to stay with you. And so I told her, call Miss Roberts. And she called Miss Roberts. Miss Roberts came straight in, and she's like, Tasha, ooh, what happened? I said, I don't know. And she's my upbeat person.
Right.
And I didn't even act up with her that day. And she knew something was wrong. And she came to the bedside and she said, you want to listen to your gospel? And she put my gospel on, and she stayed there for hours until my kids got there and everyone got there. So my spouse came in, and he looked, and he was like, oh, no. And so they pulled him back, and I was like, something is really going on now. And so at the time, I was thinking I was praising God, and I was just, reading, just remembering scriptures, like, be with me. You never leave me nor forsake me.
Right.
So, and he did just that. And so when they came back in, all the nurses and the CNAs came in, and it was like, Miss Carter, we called the doctor in, so he's on his way. So I said, well, what are y'all doing? They was hooking me back up to IV, of course, we was just trying to do whatever. So changing me, they was doing all that stuff. So by that way, the doctor came in, and he said, Miss Carter, he said, you didn't go to therapy today? He said, I had to do my rounds. He said, I'm sorry, but he said, what's going on with you? And I said, if you can come close to me, because I couldn't scream, I couldn't holler. I wasn't upbeat most person that day that I normally would be. So I said, Doc, I said, look in my eyes. I'm very sincere. What would you do if I was your patient? Because, those doctors, they're call in. So, And so they're not. And they have to report to whoever is over in that facility. And so he looked at me and he said, I looked at the nurse, and the nurse manager came in, and he said, Piedmont, Maine, stat, out of here ASAP. So they start working on me, cleaning me up, getting me ready to ship me out. They said, go ahead and pack our stuff up and everything. So I touched a lot of lives there as employees. And to see those young CNAs and nurses come in and worked on me and they cleaned me up. They knew the way I wanted to be. Right. And it was like, we gonna miss you, Miss Tosha, Miss Carter. And, and tears just started rolling, because I was like, I have impact. I'm a patient, and they took care of me. And I only called them when I needed them, not just calling them because I wanted to do for myself if I could, but that day I could not. And so I was like, okay. And so when they rolled me out in the nurse's station, and I threw my hand up, and I confirmed to them I will be back. And it's just, something just went through me that day. Right. But I never forget that day. Because God was with me. He was definitely with me. He was like, I got you. And so we got over there. They worked it on me, gave me some more morphine for comfort to get the job done. And at that time, they stabilized me and got me going. And so I thank God for that. And so I stayed back in the hospital for another 3 weeks. Wow. And by this time, this is Christmas time. That's my favorite. This is my favorite time of the year.
You didn't get to decorate.
I didn't get to decorate, put my tree.
All of that stuff.
All this good stuff that we normally do at my house on the day before Christmas. The family come over, we ready, the little kids run. None of that. And I was like, oh, my God. And so when I got back to Encompass for therapy, I had to go back to therapy again. It was harder because I was not mobile at all. Oh, wow. So they had to work with me a little bit at a time to try to get strength for arms and legs, to try to learn how to get up, sit up, all of that. It was more harder than I was when I went the first time. And they noticed it because they was like, Miss Carter, what happened to you? What really happened to you? And I said, I have no idea.
Sounds
but
like your body
I know
was shutting
it
down.
shut. It was.
Yeah.
It was. My kidneys, my liver, all of that was starting to shut down.
But God.
But God.
Look at you now. In your journey through all that you have gone through, and I know you've just relied heavily on God, but who was that one person or two people that was your it person during this journey?
During this journey, to be honest with you, my mom. She is 78 years old. Don't take one pill a day.
My God, yeah. Mm.
And her thing was that she wanted to be there every day.
Mm-hmm.
Through treatments, at home, and my sister.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of supporters, so when they couldn't do it,
Mm-hmm.
I had Nova Royal Reeves
Mm-hmm.
and Sherry Martin. Nova is my church sister,
Okay.
and she's the only child, but she called me her big
Her
sister.
Big sister. Mm-hmm.
And she's a retired veteran. And Sherry was working with me, but she worked in a different department in accounting. She worked in billing, which she's still there at DPH.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, those two,
Mm-hmm.
they was like, to keep the load off your mom and sister, we would go to your doctor visits, we'd go to your treatments. Kelvin can still work while getting Cameron to school, because I still, at that time, my baby was in the 12th
still
grade.
in high school.
So, I'm thinking all of this. I need to be alive to
I've
see
gotta
him walk,
be here for my baby.
walk across that stage.
Yes.
And that youngin' now, when I say he's still home, we went to colleges afterwards to see, because he had got accepted. But he's back at home. He wants to be closer
Absolutely.
because he went through something.
Absolutely.
Because he was a caregiver.
Yes.
He was still a caregiver. I'm just going to specifically say that. He actually was, because when they was working or they couldn't, he was there.
He was there.
So I was afraid that it was going to affect him, but he made me a promise. And his dad, he said, oh, no. Don't have to worry about it. I got this.
Mm-hmm.
This is my last year of school. I got this. And he does. He's a very inspiration to me.
Mm-hmm.
Those people there is pretty much was my solid foundation.
They were your foundation.
And Kelvin, he kept the household going.
Your
Can't leave
husband.
him out. Yeah.
Your husband, absolutely.
He kept the household going. So it's like they was really a relief for him. He's like, you go to work.
Right.
We got the time. We're here with her. So they would pick me up, take me to the doctor.
Blessing.
They would actually sometimes fuss at me. You gonna do this, like they were my therapists and stuff. I can't do this, but they were supporters, but they was my go-getters. And Miss Roberts, if I come into town, her family is gonna cook and send back food for the family to eat.
And when you're on the journey, you have to know that, like you said, the caregivers are affected, and your 12th grader helped take care of you, and so that's commendable, for him to be there. But boys are mama's boys anyway.
Yes,
so
yes, they are. They are. They are.
We know that they're going to be there. If you had one word, and we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
But if you had one or a few words that you'd like to share with others that are on this journey, that are at their lowest peak, what would you say to them?
Basically, just remember that you're not alone. That's what they told us at the Cancer Center. Use your resources.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to change your diet, which I had to. Also, trust God.
Trust God.
But I always, and there's 4 pointers that I want to share. When you hear the word cancer, and that's any cancer, whether you have breast cancer or any cancer, this is for men and women. When you hear that, process it. Secondly, accept it. Because God don't give you too much that you cannot bear. Third, pray about it. Go into scriptures. There are scriptures about healing.
Yes.
And last but not least, give it to God. if you have that spiritual realm like I did, keep the faith, keep hope, you would get through it. Because I had to pause because of my illness.
Yes.
And then this year, I had to pick back up where we left off.
Okay.
So I still had to process again in June, hoping that I didn't have to go through radiation. The cancer is already gone. I'm doing good, focusing on my healing. So this year was focusing on my healing and getting me back to some type of normalcy. I had to accept the things that I'm not going to be able to do anymore. And work was one. I love work. I love staying busy. I love doing different things. But there was some times now I can't overdo myself.
Sure.
So I just tell them if they keep those 4 pointers and trust God, they will get through it.
They will get through
They will
it.
get through it.
And the final question is, you were talking about resources. The West Central Georgia Cancer Coalition, we are a resource in the community. Do you mind sharing, if for others, the resource or the what WCGCC means to you?
Yes. You all, West Central Cancer Coalition. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it together.
Okay.
Yes, West Central Cancer Coalition. They have helped me a lot. They are good resources in helping, with mortgages or utilities of that sort. I ask people, use it. If it's brought to you, see what they have to offer. Because that's one thing our doctors tell us, to try not to stress about anything.
That's right.
And at John B. Amos Cancer Center, they also have resources. They have caseworkers. They have psychiatrists.
Yes.
They have where you can go and get your massages.
Massage therapy.
They
yes.
have where you can go and put on makeup. If you like One Love makeup, Mary Kay, they got someone there to do that.
Right.
They also have where you can do crafts.
Right.
There are days there,
It's alternative
therapy
Yes.
that you can use outside of just going to your treatments and coming back home to rest.
Right.
If you want that love doing something or doing something different, contact them. Also, your caseworkers, they are there to help you when you cannot understand or cannot complete a form or do things that needs to be completed. That's what your caseworker's for.
Right.
They give us a pamphlet when you first find out that you have cancer and before treatments. Go through that pamphlet. It tells you everything from your caseworkers, all the resources are there. What John B. Amos can't do, they'll say, okay, go to West Central Cancer Coalition. They are the outside. What we can't do, they can be able to do it. And I know there are several other resources that's out there. I have heard there's places that you can go and get fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
There's a garden here. I haven't been, but I've been
You
told.
can. Yes, ma'am.
But you can go.
You
and
can.
it's free of charge.
It
It's
is.
no cost to you.
That's right.
So,
that's right. Yeah, we do the Victory Gardens,
Okay.
and we do, provide them free at no cost to cancer thrivers.
Drivers.
So that's another.
Yes. So
resource.
use those resources, and when they come to you with these pamphlets or these flyers, don't throw them in the trash. They're to help you and your family along the way. Because I tell people, the cost
Oh yeah.
and of the bills that comes
Of
to your
course,
home,
you don't have
you would be surprised.
I say all the time, who has a savings account just set up for cancer? No
Right.
one does.
No
I
one
mean, and
does.
when life happens, that's why we try to kind of come in and help reduce the burden.
Yes, and
of
I
cancer.
thank those resources I went through. I thank the people that told me about them.
Yes.
I thank my caseworker that has really, when I call, what can I help you with?
Sure.
You use your resources. That helps you. That takes the load, the burden that you don't really have to worry
Right.
about.
Right.
And then you can be able to focus on your
and
health
to get
and
healed.
to get healed. And that will help with your healing because it's
It
part of
does.
therapy, like you say.
Yes.
It's part of therapy.
Yes.
And so I really do think those agencies, those resources, community leaders and all, I thank them, because also there are some churches in the area, they help for, that as well. So Feed the Valley. It's a lot of resources out there. Get out there. If you can't go, like I did, send someone else, or either you tell somebody else, or either get somebody to take you if you can't, because there's times you don't feel like driving, or you can't drive. Like me, I had to start all over again. So with that being said, I thank all of the resources and the services that's been given.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Tosha for pouring her heart out with her journey, but through the Thriving Against the Odds. This is Cheryl Johnson, and until next time.